Okay.
Tom, thank you for coming to Jingle for Other Voices. A few months ago, before I knew you were playing the show and I knew of you and I'd heard a couple of your beautiful songs, I didn't, no disrespect to the people of I just didn't think you were Irish. I didn't know anything about you, but I still don't know that much about you actually.
Yeah.
So Tom, would you tell us a little bit about your growing up in Ireland?
I grew up in Galway, near the village Mulcullen there. Went to school like in town, and after I finished my leaving cert, I moved over right after COVID to Manchester and went to like a music university there, and kind of like started working on stuff for the past few years there, and just recently like moved down to London. But yeah, most of all the music I've ever done was back home in Galway, you know.
And did the music change when you moved to different places? Did it inform your writing?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I kind of like always made music in a pretty like introverted way. Like I would tend to kind of go home and go to my room and make music kind of like on my own in there. I was never hugely like in the kind of the musical scene in Galway, like very actively. And then sort of when I went to university, I had to be, and I saw things changed a lot. Mostly, I'd say because of that, because I kind of started to I kind of had to do it now in a more social, more like extroverted way, and that changed everything quite a lot for the better, 100%. But and then also I suppose the aspect of like not doing it at home, like the aspect of doing it in a place that sort of felt foreign to some degree, maybe like encourage some sort of like maybe that kind of helped with pushing myself out there in a sense, if you know what I mean.
It sounds like it was a brave thing to do. It doesn't sound like it came easily to you. There must have been something pulling you.
For going, like.
Yeah, becoming more extroverted when you were quite plainly, that didn't seem to come naturally, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I kind of, like I don't know. I mean, I just sort of like grew up like in a group of lads, like all of my best friends. It was pretty, like it wasn't a. It was like one or two of my friends I had a particular kind of musical band with, but it never was more sort of far-reaching than that, if you know what I mean. So the thought of doing music in like a more social way, weirdly, and I suppose that's a very sort of like internet age kid sort of thing, like didn't occur to me too much. Like I could just do it on my own, and I did, So it definitely, like I was and still very much am kind of like always kind of pushing myself further and further out of my comfort zone in that respect. And the more I do that, the more like it tends to kind of like inform what I write about, and that's sort of where I get most of my inspiration from. I feel like that kind of feeling of being slightly too deep in the water at certain points, if you know what I mean.
I do, because I can hear it in your music
Yeah.
very well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So at what point did Dove Ellis become Dove Ellis?
Yeah, that was sort of like I think that was 2022 or something. I started using that name around the place. I kind of always wanted to use like a stage name and use like a load like at different points, and I think that for some reason that one just kind of stuck. And sometimes I kind of forget that, you know what I mean. I chose it because like someone would be like, "How are you Dove?" And I'm like, "What?"
Well, up until 10 minutes, I thought your first name was Dove.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, but I'm going to stick with it now.
Well, I have 2 dots on my face that I put on when I'm either interviewing someone or performing or anything, and I wasn't christened May Kay, so I understand the power in a stage name. Do you feel like there's a bit of a character that comes about, or is it a confidence, or?
I don't think so. I just think like I don't feel like I changed in any respect, or I don't really feel like when I step on a stage I'm inhabiting some sort of other character. But I think I just kind of like had to do it because the whole idea of doing, as I was saying before, like doing music in a social sense, in a more extroverted sense, was like it was like a separate thing to me to what music was when I was on my own making it. So I kind of think that's why I was always sort of drawn to like having a name and whatnot,
And do you ever talk about is To the Sandals autobiographical?
I definitely think in some respect, like everything I write is kind of like autobiographical. Like I don't. Yeah, I so in a sense, yeah, but like I kind of the lines of like fact and fiction are probably pretty blurred in it. You know what I mean? So not in a sort of journalistic sort of sense. It isn't, but like but it's definitely stuff I have very factually felt, if you know what I mean, I guess. So I would say sort of yes and no in my sort of silly way, you know.
No, I get you. That makes total sense. And by the time people are seeing this, you'll have an album released into the world. So would you tell me a little bit about the process of that album, how you're feeling about it?
I made that album in September, and you know we're recording this in November now, so it was pretty recent. We did it in 2 weeks. I'd like just moved to London on September 1st, and we started recording the album on September 2nd, and the whole thing was done by September 15th. And I think because I was sort of always like sometimes I spend a long time like tweaking songs, and you know like I'm not like I don't really like finish stuff in a day and like move on, like stewing over it forever. And I kind of felt like I was on the position of or on the cusp of making this album for like 50 years or something, you know what I mean, unless I kind of decided like, oh, I'll just do it now. And because I decided like, oh, I'm going to make it so quickly, I thought it kind of had to come out quickly as well. I kind of thought if I made this in 2 weeks and then it didn't come out for, you know, 10, 11 months, that would just drive me insane. So I kind of had to wrestle with the label a bit to be like, can this come out December? And then, but I'm good, but I'm you know, I'm happy that it is, you know, like I think it makes sense. And it feels like I can put it behind me now, and I'm already kind of working on the next one and stuff, so that's kind of like all I'm thinking about, you know.
I totally get it, and you don't want to be even given the time to consider opening the stems back up and
I'm big on that, you know. I'm big on kind of like ending stuff like I mean, in a sense I am anyways. Like I like it when I feel like something's finished, if it's more what I mean. It's good.
Before I let you go and prepare for your gig in St. James's Church tonight, tell us a bit about Geese and what that experience has been like.
Yeah, that was mad. We just got back like a week ago from it. It was like an amazing and very kind of bizarre experience, because like I just been playing in London live for the past kind of like year and a half, and in Manchester, and I like we were kind of, there was a sort of few sort of random events that happened that led us to being like put on that tour, and when we got, you know, asked to do it, it was sort of like, oh, that's cool, but like didn't necessarily, but it was sort of surreal and like didn't feel like it was happening. And then once we got there and we started playing the shows, it kind of still felt like that, you know what I mean, which is weird. And like thinking that it's just like looking back on it now that we were there in America for a month, if it still feels kind of surreal and separate to, you know, like being home, like being in Ireland now, you know. But it was like amazing, and in the sense that like American crowds were a thing to behold, especially ones so like kind of intense as the ones that are at Geese shows, you know, because they love that band. And I, you know, to be put in front of like so many people who are at the same time so like willing to kind of listen to music, which is unusual for when you're in a crowd of like 2,500 people, but like everyone there is like, they want to be there and they want to listen. It felt, you know, that was a pretty like, you know, like that very much kind of changed the way I think about playing live, I would say, in a sense, you know, or gave me a lot more optimism about it as well, in a sense, I think.
That's amazing. It's amazing to see, because I was, you know, you're a relatively mysterious character online, there's not too much about you, but when I was looking you up, you know, you see people, which is so gorgeous to see, because I've been the support act for stuff where, I mean, it has not gone swimmingly, and to see people go, oh my God, if you're going to the Geese show tomorrow, make sure you get in early and catch Dove Ellis. Like, what a great success.
That was
booking.
Amazing. I like that's exactly what I mean. Like, they were so like encouraged to kind of find new stuff, like as a fan base, which I thought was really cool. And also just like all the Geese and all the crew were just like the sweetest people as well, so that also helped, you know.
We want to get them to Dingle sometime.
Oh yeah, sure. You definitely should. I feel like they'd come, you know.
For sure. We'll take that as a endorsement. Tom, it's really surreal and great talking to you here. I can't wait to see you in the church later.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the chat.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you. Sounds good.
Fantastic, lad.
Great, thanks man. Thank you so much.
It was so nice.
Yeah, that was lovely.
So much.